Today's podcast is sponsored by Fire Facilities Incorporated, expert engineers, designers, and manufacturers of steel training towers, burn rooms, and mobile units that are all made in the USA. Welcome back to 3-Point Firefighter. Today, my guest is Eddie Steele. Now, Eddie is a 14-year veteran firefighter paramedic with historical Weatherford, Texas Fire Department. He is currently assigned to Truck 1, Squad 1, and he has served with several fire departments as a volunteer, part-time, and career. He's a former instructor at Weatherford College Regional Fire Academy, and he founded the Frontier F.O.O.L.S chapter in Texas, and he's a current president right now. Now, I love quotes. Love them, right? When seconds count, we count seconds. There's a lot of good fireman quotes. Brother Steele, you got one of the best ones ever. Your quote is, "I can never give back enough to the fire service what it has given me." Brother Steele, thank you for being on the show.
Hey, thanks, Jake. I appreciate the opportunity.
Well, so for those listening, I met Eddie a couple weeks ago. We were teaching in Fort Worth. We were teaching NFPA 1700. That was our very first class that we taught. And I was with my buddy Gilbert Pedroza, captain out of LA County, and we're up there teaching. And you walk in, and I've seen you on a couple pictures with your helmet and all that stuff. And you walk in there, and I'm like, I know this dude. I didn't say nothing. I'm like, I know this dude. So we go through the station, and I look at your shirt, and you had your name on your T-shirt. I'm like, fucking Eddie Steele. It's Eddie Steele, right? So you leave, and I look at Gilbert. I'm like, Gilbert, that's Eddie Steele. Every now and then we get we fanboy over people that we know in the fire service or know of in the fire service that do things that are kind of important. So, of course, I listened to Corley Moore's podcast, and I saw you on that. So, man, great seeing you again. This time, not in person. So, what'd you think about that 1700 class since we're talking about it?
Yeah, let's get something straight for everybody. You were teaching. I was the student.
Yes, so yes, you were the student.
Yeah,
me and you were teaching.
I'm still a student, and I go to as many classes as I possibly can. I think that the instructor, I don't consider myself an instructor. I like to teach people. I like to learn even more. And if I can teach people what I've learned to make them better, that's what makes the world go round and makes the fire service better. As far as the 1700 class, man, I thought it was a good class. What I liked about it is that it, forgive my candidness, but it was almost like we got the holy ointment and blessing to go forth and rescue and do firemanship. And so, meaning that, what does that mean? That means that now NFPA has now said that, vendor search, vendor isolate search, whatever you want to call it, is now a standard. It's not cowboy stuff. Going into a window and searching is now the standard.
Yes.
Flowing and moving water is now the standard. Doing things with a purpose, with the citizen safety first and not necessarily ours. Ours is first through our training. If you handle your business at home, and through training and education, then you're putting your safety, first. And then once you get on the fire ground and when that bell goes off, it's not about you anymore. It's about them, And so what I liked about NFPA 1700 class was that it gave legitimacy, I guess you could say, to what we've always considered the best practices, And so with that being also said, as far as, if you want to teach, one of those practices like VES or flowing and moving, and let's say the chief of said department that you're teaching says, "Hey, that's cowboy stuff." I said, "Nuh-uh, NFPA 1700 has now blessed it, sir." So
yes. Anyway,
that's what.
Yeah, they have window initiated search now, right?
Yep.
And no more transitional. We call it exterior attack because people could not understand what they thought transitional was a one-way thing, and don't get me started on that.
Yeah,
it was good. It's a 2-day class.
Yeah, that's about transitional attack. So I kind of call it like this. So they call it exterior attack, and I like that because kind of like the Marine Corps, right? They never retreat; they advance backwards, right? We're not retreating. We're advancing to the rear. You know,
It's to the rear.
Yeah.
It's a good class, and we enjoyed it. We took a lot out of it as instructors, and I think we're tweaking it. There were a few hiccups. I think we all saw a few hiccups here and there, but that's how the nature of the beast is. And I think our next presentation will probably go a lot better. I will be back down in Texas next week, down in Rowlett, Dallas.
So I'm going on to that 1403 class. For everybody that doesn't know, that's the live fire instructor class, and I'm October 1, our department opened up the bank account. So come on, bank account, pay for that class for me. So I'm going to be there if everything goes well to take that class.
You're going to be at Rowlett?
Yeah, man. Be a student again. Absolutely.
Oh, we got to have a beer together. That's all there is to it. It's all there is to it, brother. Man, that's great to hear. So I noticed when you're up there, first off, there's some students, and you know this, that just stand out. It's not saying anything bad about other students, but there's some students, and you were one of those students, and I guess that's what drew me to you. And you're like motivating people around, you're talking to people. And then, of course, to paint the picture fully, we were on a 7th floor training tower, and it had 2 twin staircases going up. And we were on the 7th floor doing a ventilation skill station. And that one student, which was you came up, you said, man, I want to fill this whole thing up with smoke in the stairwells and then see what these fans can do. I'm like, man, I wish we had time. We were on, a time thing and a certain, we had certain check boxes, but we brought all that stuff down to you. I said, hey man, lunchtime, if you want to go do it. You said, man, I appreciate it. But that's, as an instructor, you love to see students do that. Like, I love this. I want more. How can I do more, man? So the fire bug bit you pretty hard. Tell me your story, how you got in the fire service.
So it hit me hard and it hit me late, kind of like the clap. So, I was late in my life. I say that in my life. I was 27, man, when I got my shit together. I was 27. So I'm 43 right now.
25. I was 25 when I did mine.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. I tried. I tried a lot of different things the wrong way. Through my young adulthood and that late adolescence, man, whatever the right thing to do was, Eddie Steele was doing that way. You couldn't tell me what to do. I was going to figure it out on my own, come hell or high water. And I made a lot of bad decisions, and I learned a lot from them until finally one day my parents, they had retired. I got older parents. They had retired and they moved out, come to the country. I'm from Arlington, Texas. I was adopted when I was a young baby, but I grew up in Arlington, Texas. And so I was kind of a city boy, if you will. And then my parents had retired and moved out to the country in Weatherford, Texas. And that was about 45 minutes to the west of me. And so once a week I'd drive over there, hungover, and mow their 2-acre lot. Just like I always promised them I would on every Sunday morning if I could, I'd do that. So at any rate, one afternoon I go to the corner big pantry convenience store there to get my chimichanga and my Dr. Pepper. When I'm halfway done with my mowing, and to the bottom right there was a stack of newspapers, some Weatherford Democrat regional paper that said Weatherford College graduate cadet hired by Weatherford Fire Department. And it was like God just said, hey, dude, that's what you're going to do. So I looked down at it, and I was just drawn to it, man. And there was something about it. It was almost like as if kind of a bet, to myself. Man, I bet you can't do that. Something, I don't know exactly what it was, but I picked it up. I took it home. I showed it to my dad. I said, Dad, I want to do this. He goes, you want to be a fireman? I said, yep, I do. He looks at me. He's like, son, now he's always been behind my back, but he's seen me also, crap on the floor a lot. He's giving me lots of chances to grab myself. So he goes, all right, I tell you what, you better talk to your uncles, because my uncles were both retired firemen from LA County. And so I said, if you want to get over there, he goes, I'll tell you what, you're paying for it, but if you want to move out here and live with us while you go to the fire academy, we'll let you do that. But he goes, Eddie, I'm telling you what, if you don't finish this thing, that's it, man. We're not going to support anything else. because you never finish a dang thing in your life. And that was true, man. I was a professional procrastinating screw up. So that's what I did. I was a drummer in a rock and roll band, surfing on couches and waking up in people's apartments that knew who they were. And I did that for a long time. But there was something.
Hell, that sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, it gets old quick, man. But at any rate, so that's what I did. I started to get in shape because you can't use the fire academy to get in shape because they're going to bust your butt. So I started getting in shape, man, and started getting sober. And next thing I know, about 2 months later, I find myself riding in this bus to Weatherford Fire Station 3, where the training tower is. And we're in a bus full of these cadets. We don't know each other. Everybody's got their haphazard blue uniform on. None of our shit's the same. It's all out of whack. Not knowing that how we're even really supposed to put them on. And if we did know, we didn't follow the dang directions anyway, because none of us do when we first get on. And we pull up to the back of Station 3, and there's this guy, and he looks squared away, shiny bald head. He's got his hands behind his back at a parade rest, out sitting on a yellow line. And this guy, two rows from me, goes, "Oh shit, not again." I'm like, "What the hell does that mean, not again?" This guy just got out of the Marine Corps. He's like, "Crap, there's another yellow line I'm about to get on." So who that was my now fire chief. That was Lieutenant Peacock. He's my fire chief now at Weatherford. He gets on the bus. He goes, "Welcome to the Weatherford Fire Academy. You have 10 seconds to de-ass yourself from my bus and get on the yellow line." And we just start falling all over each other with our big duffel bags with a beard. It's like that bus is like having a baby, just diarrhea of cadets coming there. And we get on the line, and from that minute on, they just started drilling us and busting our butt. And I was like, I freaking love this, because the first time in my life, I was being challenged, and that was what it was. I just needed to be challenged. I needed a direction where somebody was going to challenge me, because I wasn't challenging myself. And then from then on, man, that was it. It changed my life. It saved my life. I'm sure of it. And to come hell or high water, whatever it was going to take, I was going to be a professional fireman. And that's another part of the story. It took me a long time to become a career firefighter, but that's what gave me the bug.
So you do the academy. That doesn't guarantee you a job, though, right?
No. Because I wasn't hired by a department. I paid for it myself at a junior college. So you go through 3 months of that, and they give you a certificate that says you're a Texas certified basic firefighter. Unbeknownst to me, you're really not certified because you have to get your EMT. I didn't know what that was. Like EMT, I don't know how to spell that. What's that? I don't know what the EMT is. So now I got to go to a medical type school. And so after I got done with the fire academy, went to EMT school, failed that thing miserably. Had to go again. And when I went to go again, I was trying to figure out, let me tell you something about shortcuts. I was trying to find a short way that wasn't going to be a semester long. I had to get my EMT really quick because I wanted to be a fireman, start putting out fires. So I'm on the interwebs, and I find this 1 month course, 1 month fast-paced course up in the Appalachian Mountains in North Carolina, and it's called the Wilderness Medical Institute. So what they're going to do is they're going to give you a wilderness EMT certification and a street national registry certification for EMT, all in 1 month. And it's like it's a complete what do they call that? Involvement. You live there, you breathe it and sleep it. And so that's what I did. Little did I know, it's like survival school out there. Mm-hmm. So we're in the Appalachians, and we're learning how to make splints out of snake bones, and just. It was all hands-on, all scenario-based, for 1 month. And the last week of it was street EMS stuff. I did some ride-outs on the Cherokee reservation out there for the Eastern bands. And 1 month later, of living it and breathing it, I finally got my national registry. So that made me
national registry in 1 month. Registry.
Yeah, in 1 month. I mean, it was just like drinking out of a fire hydrant of some soup you never even heard of, But what was cool about it, though, is that I ended up really enjoying it because it was tangible. It was all scenario based, very little book work. There was some book. We had to do some homework just for terminology and such, and had quizzes in the morning. But we did 8 hours of just scenarios, difficulty breathing, trauma, all kinds of stuff like that. And we all dressed up in moulage, and we took turns acting for each other and stuff. And it was pretty cool. What I learned a lot about that was backwoods or backcountry EMS. Let's say if you and I are in Zion National Park, you fall and break your ankle, brother, you're screwed. You're 5-6 miles off of the main trail, and if you don't have help or some way to splint it, you're going to die out there. And so that's what I learned. I learned a lot of that stuff, and that kind of gave me a little bit of I guess a secret like for EMS, because I secretly do like EMS, but
anyway. I won't tell anybody. Don't see, anybody. Backwoods EMS. See, I'm from Kentucky. Go Big Blue. Yeah. And so backwoods EMS for us is just basically how to remove the brother from the sister. That's you just gotta. That's it. Throw cold water on them, and then come apart.
With water.
Yeah. I passed that.
There you go.
So, awesome. So how old are you now? You've gotten your EMT, you've got your firefighter cert, but you don't have a job yet. So what are you, 26, 27 right now?
No, so I'm like 28 and a half, almost 29. I'm an old dude, man. I'm old. Oh. I was in the academy with kids. So I've been the old man the whole time. So I get done with that, and I just can't pass a test for the life of me. I tested everywhere I possibly could. And back then, man, I don't know what it's like. It's probably like the same way in the rest of the country right now. Right now, if you have a pulse and a patch and you haven't committed murder in 5 years, like, you got a job. Seriously, these new kids have no idea how good the chances of them getting the best job in the world is. Because back when I started, and I don't think it was that long ago, but 14, 15 years ago, man, I mean, there was only, the economy was horrible. It was 2008, nobody was hiring. In fact, people were laying off at Browning Out Station, and if they were hiring, it was like 1 or 2 people, or they were just getting a list ready for the next year. So every time I showed up at a test, man, I'd see the same guys over and over again, and I just couldn't get to that top 10%. Just because I was awful at math, and I could never figure out how fast the fire truck went, if it was going 60 miles an hour for 3, whatever. And so that always got me, man. But I became a professional test taker for sure. But in the meantime, what I do, and I encourage this to people, is that, just because you fail one time, so what, man? Just keep trying and keep trying. And in the meantime, how bad you want it will dictate, your effort. So what I did is, dispatch, volunteer, part-time, no time, ride a freaking ambulance, whatever it is, keep yourself in the game. That way, when you finally do pass the test and you find yourself in front of the interview board and they're looking at your resume, they're like, damn, Eddie, like, you did everything. I'm like, yeah, absolutely, sir. I'm scraping and clawing with these calluses, trying to make it here, to finally get in front of you, to beg you for a job to hire me. So, that's what I did. I just did whatever I could to stay in the game. So volunteering and part-time and ambulance riding and, whatever it took, man, that's what I wanted to do, because I loved it. And I wanted to be a firefighter, professionally and make a living doing the best job in the world. So that was my goal.
I've always said we got the best job in the world, and I feel bad for fighter pilots and astronauts because they're not firefighters.
That's right.
And we talked a little bit before about your dad being a fighter pilot, so that's super damn cool. So let me ask you this: you now work for historic Weatherford. What makes it historic?
So Weatherford Fire Department, it was founded in 1876. That's pretty old. There's some parts in the Northeast, I'm sure they're a little bit older, but in Texas, anyway, we're one of the oldest departments. Weatherford is located about 20 miles west of Fort Worth. So if you can kind of close your eyes and think about the Wild West and the Texas frontier back in the mid to late 1800s, Fort Worth, there was Dallas and there was Fort Worth here in North Texas. And those were kind of the frontier outposts, and if you went anywhere west of that, man, like, you're going because you're like Lewis and Clark. You're going somewhere, you ain't going to come back, and so what happened is that some folks started this, it was a buffalo trading post out just west of Fort Worth called Weatherford. and subsequently it became a train station. Definitely aren't coming back. Weatherford was the place where you, for the last moment, you're going to get, you're going to see a lawyer if you need to get your will measured up. You're going to get your grain, your alcohol, maybe get a lady for the last night, whatever kind of stuff we're going to do before going west. And if you went out there and if you made it, congrats. But chances are the Comanche and the Kiowa are going to get you, and they're going to make their they're going to make their time with you as well. So it took a certain tough kind of hombre to be out there in Weatherford. And so subsequently also, folks started their own fire protection department out there, and that started in 1876. So that's what we kind of hang our hat on, that we've been fighting fire, for that long. Thank God we still don't do things the way we always have. Can you imagine that excuse? This is the way we've always done it? Shoot, dude.
That would not work well for you.
No, man. I wish we still had our Silsby steamer, but we don't have that anymore. But Weatherford is historic for that reason, and I really enjoy that. You go all around town. We have an old part of town, and it's just like the Wild West out there. Some of these old buildings are well over 120 years old in downtown, and I really kind of got a liking to it, and that's the department I wanted to work for when I was in the fire academy.
Well, you did good, huh? And then not only did you have a secret taste for EMS, you became a paramedic. Now, how'd that work out?
Yeah, let's talk about that. So you're going to see an ongoing, theme with me, which is number one, it's failure. So I failed at everything I've ever done in my life, more times than I can count. And I've been successful probably as many times as I can count on one hand. So I failed paramedic school 3 times. Not the National Registry, the school. I failed paramedic school 3 times, and the 4th time was a charm. Finally, I passed that, and I kind of joked, said, "Man, with how much medical school I should be going to, I probably should be a doctor by now." But back then, like we were talking about, times were hard for firefighters getting a job, and if you want the golden ticket to get a job was to get your paramedic, get that red patch, as they say in Texas. And so, God dang it, man. I mean, how bad did I want it? I wanted this so bad. It's kind of like that feeling when you dive down in the deep end of the pool and you realize you didn't take a deep enough breath and you're trying to get to the surface, and that surface isn't getting there quick enough. You got to want it that bad that you want that breath of air. That's how bad I wanted it. So, at that time I was so accustomed to, I don't want to say failing, but failing, So what? I failed. I'm going to do it again. All I got is time. So that's what I did, man. I went to school 4 different times, and finally on that 4th time, I passed it. And same thing with the Weatherford Fire Department. When I went to Fire Academy there, that's when I decided that I wanted to be a Weatherford fireman, because the academy was actually in a working firehouse there at Station 3. Mm-hmm. So we got to kind of associate somewhat with those firefighters. And every time they went on those calls, man, or I'd see them out and they'd help us with our skills. Man, those are the guys I wanted. Those were firemen to me, They didn't run a whole lot of EMS, but they did a whole lot of fire, and Weatherford was burning back in those days. And some guys wanted to go to Dallas or Arlington or some of the big cities, but not me, man. I wanted to be a Weatherford fireman. And so that took me 10 years. And I'm telling this to those guys out there, those guys and gals. It took me 10 years to get on to Weatherford. So I applied there for 10 years. I took that test 10 times in a row. And finally, on that 11th time, about 5 years ago, is when I got hired. I passed the test and scored high enough to be able to make it to the physical agility and move forward with it. But I tell you what it was. It was kind of luck and maybe a little process of elimination. I knew that, that first year the answer to that question wasn't A, and the second it was a B. The third year it wasn't C, so it's got to be B. There's
process of elimination.
Right. There's only 100 questions on that. So if you do the math, man, 10 years, you got to be smarter than the paper. No, you got to be smarter than the paper, man. So that's how I did it.
We know Weatherford needs to change their test yearly, obviously, the written test.
It was the same dang test, dude. It was the same test.
Well, all right. So now you're on Weatherford. You're happy. You're good to go. Clearly,
Yeah.
you got a passion. Anybody listening to this, obviously, you're picking up on the passion. I guarantee you right now, if somebody, a lot of people listen to this when they're working out, I guarantee you they're running a little bit faster, they're lifting a little bit more weight because they're hearing your passion come through, man. Failure is not an obstacle, it's an opportunity for you, right? You're like, let's do it. Let's get better. Let's keep going.
Whatever.
So
Yep.
you take that and you start a FOOLS chapter now, right? The Frontier F.O.O.L.S.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So that I can kind of, I guess, rewind a little bit back. Man, when I finally got that paramedic patch, that opened the doors for me, just like I knew it would. The first place that I applied at, they took me. It was paramedic preferred. So if I made a 70 on the test, which is what I normally did make, if I made a 70 on the test and the guy with the EMT basic made a 99, well, guess who they're taking? They're taking the old guy with the paramedic patch, right? So that's what happened, man, is I went to a department just southeast of Dallas, and it reminded me a lot of home. Home was Weatherford at the time, and I got on there, and so I'd already been a fireman for about 5 years. Like I said, part time and volunteer, and like I said, always had the passion, always loved learning. I knew I knew I didn't know everything, so I got onto this department, and it was. I don't know the best way to say this, but it was a splash of cold water in the face of the reality of what the culture is like, really, at some of these departments that are around. And I know this isn't specific, but I get hired there, and I'm immediately brought into a room with 5 other guys, and basically we're told that we're going to be pieces of crap for the next 120 shifts. Don't look at us. Don't talk to us. If we're outside, you're inside cleaning. If we're inside, you're outside working. And then somehow magically, when we get on a call, we're supposed to be a team, So I'm thinking to myself, oh, crap, man, But you know what? It's 120 shifts. So what? By that time, I'm almost 30 years old. I got a serious girlfriend. We want to get married and get a house. So, shoot, I can do this. No big deal. But I realized that there was a culture there that was very vindictive and just unhealthy. And it had been deep seated in there. And every year there was a sacrificial goat. Somebody was getting fired, not because of their skill level. It's just because that's just the way it was. That assistant chief had on display in his bookshelf the fire front, the leather front of everybody he's ever fired. And there was 13 there when I was there. So it was, when you're a rookie.
Dude, that is shitty as hell.
that was his trophy case, man. And when you're a rookie, you had to dust that stuff. And, you're just like on broken eggs. And finally, I saw guys getting fired all around me, and the problem was I became part of the solution because better than him than me, that's the way I felt. And so it was kind of that, I don't want to say that abused spouse or child syndrome, it's just like, you just kind of cringe and hope it doesn't happen to you. And we don't talk about these things, but until finally about 3 years into it, I found the target on my back, for whatever reason, all of a sudden Eddie was awful. And they told me, they said, Eddie, you're a horrible fireman. You're going to get somebody killed, and how they try to teach you, is they'd say real quick, hey, all right, kid, now you just imitate what I did. And if you don't get it, then you're a piece of shit. So that's kind of how it was, man. I started just getting really nervous, and, you start getting performance anxiety, and, you feel that target on your back. So what did I do, man? I took a big old piece of humble pie, and instead of pointing the finger at everybody else, man, I had to take a close look in the mirror and say, Eddie, you got to fix yourself, man, if you want to keep your job, and I just got in the house and keep your house and keep food on the table. You better fix yourself. So I went back to the fire academy. I went back to the Weatherford Fire Academy, went to that fire director there, and I said, Chief, can I just sit in the class and just try to relearn some of this stuff, whatever it was, ladders or whatever it was. I want to be a fly on the wall. I don't want to be an instructor because evidently I don't know shit. And she said, absolutely, man. So I went and I audited, about a semester of classes there, hands-on training stuff. And finally, those instructors there that knew me, they did something that was really cool. that helped my my confidence, and said, "Hey, Eddie, why don't you take a small group and you just show them something simple, So whatever it was, say masking up, show them how to mask up, and I show them that, Then the next week they say, all right, we're doing ladders. Why don't you show them, how we do ladders, So I show them that, and next thing subconsciously, what they were doing is they were building my confidence up. So finally, it clicked with me, and I realized, hey, dude, I know what I'm doing. In fact, I kind of always knew what I was doing. Those assholes over there were the ones that were really bringing me down. And I thought to myself, I was like, this is supposed to be the best job in the world. Like, I did all this scraping and clawing and sweating to come here, and this is the best job in the world. This bullshit, man. If this is the best job in the world, then I don't know what is up. So that's something important that people need to understand. That if you find yourself in a place where you're not happy, and maybe you're the subject of some of this kind of discrimination, not discrimination, but what is call it, bullying or whatever, to single outing, first of all, fix yourself, right? If you fix yourself and the other guys see that you're trying to fix yourself, a lot of times that'll solve the problem. But if that doesn't work and you're still not happy where you are, go somewhere else, man. You are worth it. Because at that time, there's something that gets in your head and you don't think that you can go anywhere else. It's like that beaten, spouse syndrome. They're telling you you're not worth crap. And if you go anywhere else, nobody else is going to want you either. And we're going to find out. And then you're really going to be, in big trouble. But that's not true, man. Pick yourself up and go somewhere else if you need to. Because right now, the fire service is dying for good, passionate firefighters. And you can go anywhere you want to. So it's important for people to understand that. So what did I do? I went and got my big boy shoes on. I went and applied at one of the departments I was part-timing at. And this is a single station department that's got 4 ambulances, and they run the freaking wheels off that ambulance. And I'm a paramedic. Guess where I'm going to go? I'm going to go on that ambulance, right? But I went and I got hired by them. I went and put my 2 weeks notice on the fire chief's desk at my other department. He said, Eddie, I thought we were good. I said, no, sir, we're not good. In fact, I'm downgrading to a 1-station department. And they ran the wheels off that ambulance with me on it, and I got my confidence back. But they freaking appreciated me, and I liked it there, man. The guys were good, the pay was decent, and I started just kind of getting my feet underneath myself again. And I know this is a long story, but this is how I got myself involved with the FOOLS. Because I was still trying to figure out how to make myself a better fireman, because I had something to prove to myself, and I still had something to prove to those assholes back there. Because it took me a while to kind of let go of that. It took me years, and that's probably something else to talk about, but it was very unhealthy for a while. So I was on the interwebs, and I saw this thing on Facebook, and they're called FOOLS. I'm like, who's? The FOOLS. And there was a chapter in North Texas called the Heart of Texas FOOLS, and they were about an hour, 15 minutes from me, and I was seeing some of their content, some of their videos and stuff. I was like, man, this is good stuff. I mean, they were talking about ladders. Like, I've never even heard of ladders. They were talking about hose. I'd never even heard about this kind of hose. I mean, all kinds of stuff. And so I told myself, the next time they have a meeting, I'm going to go. And one of the coolest things about this was that it said, everybody's welcome. It said, everybody's welcome. Like me, I'm welcome. Like, you don't have to be some super fireman. You don't have to be part of the clique or part of the club. Everybody is welcome here. Well, take everybody, right? We just want to make the fire service better. And I was like, shit, that's me, dude. So I went to the fire station where they were having this meeting, and I started looking around at these super firemen around me. I got my Metallica shirt on, my Weatherford Fire Department hat on. I'm like, crap, dude. I bet this better be good, And so Chief Garrett Rice from the colony is doing a class on ladders, ground ladders, and he freaking blew my mind about ground ladders. I didn't know anything about ground ladders. All I knew is they're freaking heavy, and I'm going to try to avoid that damn thing, because we didn't go to the roof anyway where I was at. So anyway, after the class, I feel this on my back shoulder. I look around. This guy goes, Eddie Steele. I look like Matt Jelinski. I go, what are you doing here, man? He goes, what are you doing here? He's like, I haven't seen you since the fire academy. He goes, dude, I'm the president of the Heart of Texas FOOLS. I'm like, holy shit, And then I see another guy named Zach Hamlin that works for the call. I'm like, Zach? He's like, Eddie, we work part-time in a place called Lake Worth. I'm like, these are my fucking friends, man. These are my friends. and that was my safe spot, man. It's like, it's okay. It's okay to want to come here and learn. And it's okay if you're not the best fireman in the world, because they're going to help you and they're going to teach you. And I was like, shit, where were y'all 3 years ago, man? Because I needed y'all. But until then, man, that's when I was like, I realized that if I could help other firefighters get the knowledge that I so desperately needed back then, man, that I don't want anybody to have to go through what I went through, not just psychologically, emotionally, but also, damn it, like they deserve, and the citizens deserve, for these firefighters to have the skills to make them freaking awesome, be badass firemen, because I wasn't taught at the time. These departments weren't teaching these best practices that NFPA 1700 is doing now. It was just all this IFSTA crap, that wasn't even, practical. So, finally back where I was, I know this is long, man, I apologize, but
no, go ahead, brother.
Finally back in Weatherford, Texas, in this area, there's a lot of other, really good firemen in Weatherford, Parker County, Fort Worth, Arlington, all over this area. And there just wasn't a FOOLS chapter that was close to us. It was always about an hour drive for us to get there. Next thing you know, it's a 4-hour ordeal, to go to the training or the meeting. So I was like, man, someone needs to start a chapter. And everyone's like, yeah, someone needs to start a chapter. I'm like, well, someone
they look at you.
They're looking at you. Yeah, someone needs to start it. So I was like, all right, man, I just want to do fireman stuff with my friends. So I got all my friends together that I met through the chapter, through the Heart of Texas FOOLS chapter. And I reached out to Matt Jelinski and Justin Bemis there at the Heart of Texas FOOLS, and then also Chase Morgan from the Iron Brotherhood FOOLS down in the Houston area. They had just started a chapter, and he goes, all right, dude, this is how to do it. But he goes, God bless you, because you're going to be doing 80% of this thing all on your own. I'm like, I don't care, man. I just want to share. People have got to know what this is. It's like Bible study. You know what I mean? It's like, so, hey, dude, like, you have a Bible study? I'm like, yeah. He goes, so what's it about? Like, well, just come on over, man. We'll talk about it, And so I do the same thing with my buddies. They're like, so what's this FOOLS thing? I'm like, dude, it's awesome. Like, all right, maybe I'll go, but don't tell anybody. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. Next thing you know, they go to a meeting or they go to training. They're like, that was fucking badass. I'm like, I know, God is great, right? And it just spreads like wildfire. I don't shove it down anybody's throat. I just kind of show them that's the direction to the well. Come drink from it with me, and that's how we get it done. But I guess to answer your question, that's how we started the FOOLS. That's how I started the FOOLS, and the guys I'm with, man, my training cadre and my executive board, the misfits that I'm with, these guys are so much better firefighters than me. These guys they're so awesome. I can lean on them for everything. I got guys like Kevin Lewis from Dallas and Thomas Anderson from Haltom City, Jeremy Wardlow, Josh Wade's freaking. I got all these guys, so many good guys that are so much better firemen that really represent us well. And I just get to sit back there and just watch these marvelous pastors just, they do good stuff, man. And I'm really proud to be a part of them.
Man, you're getting me all motivated and inspired. I want to go. I was going to put my gear on and just at least run around the block or something, dude.
Hey, I'll see you in Rowlett. Let's go, dude.
Yeah, Rowlett, right? That's exactly it. I love your passion, man. It's infectious. It's infectious. I love the fact that you're open about your failures because you want to share your successes, and not for you, but for everybody else.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. It's cool. It's cool. I meet these guys at these trainings all the time, man. If I see somebody I've never seen before, hey, dude, what's up? Just strike up a conversation with them. Let them know that they're freaking welcome. You don't have to be stiff around here. I guess when you were talking about that 1700 class, I go and talk to people, try to hype them up because, man, this is fun. This needed to be a good environment where it's healthy and like it's okay to laugh and jaw at each other. And we're not here to prove anything, man. We're here to have a good time. And if I mess up, I'll go first so you can laugh at me and you can learn from what I just did wrong. So that way the guy
that's it.
Yeah, the guy that goes fifth is the one that gets it right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got to tell you, that's one of my weaknesses. I still, to this day, I force myself to do it sometimes, and there's other times I don't. I don't go first in something because, it's in my head. And then I did something today, matter of fact, that we were doing some training today with my guys, and I was like, I don't want to do this, but I did it, and I was happy that I did it. But anyway, So let me ask you this: what do you got coming up in the future for the FOOLS, your local FOOLS chapters? What's going on? What's going on in Texas?
So I'm glad you asked that. Right, man, there's a lot going on in Texas. There's a lot going on in North Texas. We're happy that we're lucky to be able to share kind of a region with the Heart of Texas FOOLS. They're the chapter actually that's kind of a responsible for Rowlett, Texas that we're speaking about. But here on the 15th, they've got the national. It's called the North Texas Fire Revolution. It's a 2-day conference that's being held at Collin County in McKinney, Texas. Day 1 is going to be lecture. Day 2 is going to be all hands-on training. The smoke divers are going to do a search class there. We're going to have forcible entry. We're going to have ladders there. Just basic fundamental firemanship. Sets and reps, man. Sets and reps always, with a bunch of good brothers. There's nothing better than that, man. It's just like drinking beers with your buddy, except we're all sweating together. And at the end of the day, you're exhausted. Everybody's smiling dirty, It's going to be a great time. And the best part about it, man, is the price. It's only $50, dude. $50 for 8 hours of just jamming it up with brothers, which is awesome. Because that's one thing about these trainings lately. God bless, man. Like $250 for a ticket to go train and, $170 for, it gets so taxing. We're not dentists, man. We're firemen. So that's the one thing that the FOOLS around here, we really try to make things, if not free, just very, very affordable. So it's a $50 ticket on the 15th in McKinney, and I'll plug it for our big brothers, the Heart of Texas FOOLS. As far as the Frontier FOOLS, in the summer, I know for a fact this summer in June, we're going to have the Gone to Texas Fire Forum and Fire Expo. That's going to be a weekend long of just, great firemanship. It's going to be mostly all lecture, motivational lecturing, Gone to Texas. What does that mean? Well, back in the old days, in the frontier days, like in Kentucky and such, when people wanted to go and start their life over again, where did they go? They went to Texas, right? Mm-hmm. They left their cabins, and there's a sign that would be hanging on their cabins. The sign said, GTT, Gone to Texas. So they say, hey, man, where did Eddie go? He went to Texas. So we kind of call it that, Gone to Texas. You go back, go to this fire forum and get a good shot in the arm of motivation so you can start your day off, your year off again. Right. Kevin Lewis, one of our cadre members, he's got a goal, a dream for early this spring to have the Texas Truck Academy. What we're going to do is we're going to showcase Texas truck tactics and let the folks around here in our area that are really trying to find their way into the truck culture. They all have this $2 million apparatus, but they only use about $500 of it. They've got it for insurance reasons and such, but our goal is to help these other smaller fire departments really maximize the effectiveness of the truck and the men and women that are on those trucks. So it's going to be mainly all just truck tasks like, vent, ladders, search. But what we're going to try to do is make it a little bit more advanced, because a lot of these fundamental classes are all over the place, but we're going to try to put, kind of step it up a little bit and see if we can teach them a little bit more things that maybe they haven't seen before. So that's a goal that's going to be coming in September. And until then, man, the best thing I can always tell you is just to pay attention to our Facebook page, Frontier FOOLS on Facebook, and we always put out content, and we always put out raffles and the next things that are up. But those are my guys, and I love them.
All right, brother. I love it. Love the passion. Listen, I'm ready to go.
Let's do it, man.
All right, so we got to wrap up here, but I do want to end with this. Tell me the best prank that you've ever had played on you, or you played on somebody.
Yeah, so I'm not a great pranker. I'm kind of the quiet, chilled out guy at the department or at the station. I've had 2 of them done to me. So the first one, saran wrap on the toilet.
Nice, always a winner.
Right, saran wrap on the toilet. And then my daughter, Kelsey. So I've got a 17-year-old daughter, and she grew up in a fire station. She's a feral daughter. She grew up around firemen and climbing all over apparatus, and all the departments I volunteered and part-timed on, and even in the back of that, those nasty ambulances. So I think it's why she never got COVID. I think that's why. It's because she freaking spent so much time in the back of the ambulance playing with those damn stethoscopes. But anyway, so she was on this she was on this prank kick when she was about 10 or 12 years old. And the prank was that to put a sponge underneath your pillow, right? So she gets to the fire station because they always visit us at the fire station. And that she told the guys, goes, hey, this is what I want to do to my dad. And so of course, they helped her out with that. They got the nastiest sponge they possibly could. They put it on it. So they went back into my bunk room, and she put it underneath my pillow. Of course, that night I was on the ambulance. I was tired as heck, and I get down. Finally, I'm able to go to bed. I get down, get in my bed, get all nice, and also, God, what is that? And it says on the note that says from Kelsey to Dad. I'm like, Kelsey. So that was it. That was my daughter. The best prank probably ever done to me is my daughter with the help of my brothers.
You're doing it right if you're getting your children involved in firehouse pranks, period. Bar none. Brother Steele, this has been a blast for me. I thoroughly mean it. I've just enjoyed the shit out of this. I can't wait to see you in Rowlett. We'll have dinner together, and you get me pumped up some more, get me more excited, man. You're a dose of motivation, man. I needed it, and I know some people are listening right now, and they need it. So thank you for your time, brother.
Thanks, Jake. I appreciate it, man.
Stay safe.
All right, man.
Today's podcast was sponsored by Fire Facilities, designers and manufacturers of realistic, built-to-last training structures and mobile units for 30 years. Make training count. Visit firefacilities.com for more information.